An Ada native pursuing her singing career on the national stage. We'll hear from her. KTEN News at 10 for your Wednesday night starts right now. Evening, everybody. I'm Bob Brickeen. Lisanne has the night off. An Ada singer and songwriter recently hit the big stage for one of the nation's top TV shows. KTEN's Alexander Porter has more.
Emily Ryan, an Ada native, recently took the big stage auditioning for the premiere of the 23rd season of The Voice.
I learned a lot. I got to work with a vocal coach and a band, and I got to really see how everything was pulled off.
Emily Ryan's journey as a musician and a songwriter began at a young age, learning vocal skills and stage presence from her mother and playing the guitar from her grandfather, Ernie Dunlap. When Ryan felt the time was right to expand her boundaries, she took the chance to show it on The Voice.
Getting able to stand up there regardless or not if I got a cheer turn and say, "Hey Blake, I'm from Ada. I play at your restaurant." That was so much. That meant so much to me to be able to do that.
Ryan didn't get a chair turn from the judges, but took her experiences back to Texoma as she's back performing throughout the region, including the venue that gave her her first shot, Ole Red in Tishomingo.
They're huge shadows that she's been under. Well, that's Kelly's daughter, or that's Ernie's granddaughter. And she was able to step out from under that and go, nuh-uh, I'm Emily Ryan, and I'm here, and I'm a musician. I may be third generation, but let me show you who I am.
As Emily continues to pursue her career, it's become a theme of never giving up.
I'm not quite sure what's next right now. I've always told myself, a no is just another opportunity we haven't gotten to yet. And so I'm used to no's, I'm used to setbacks, and it just makes me work harder.
Although Emily Ryan's journey on The Voice didn't pan out, she kept it simple, saying, quote, "You haven't seen the last of me." Reporting from Tishomingo, Alexander Porter, KTEN News.
After almost 2 months, the intersection of North Travis and Highway 75 reopened in Sherman. In January, TxDOT closed the intersection for construction on the new southbound overpass. Drivers are glad that intersection is open because so many people, including businesses, were impacted by the closure.
They could see, hey, just take a quick, easy right here, hop into the coffee shop, pull out, hang the left, and they were able to just jump right back on the freeway. And, social media helped out a little bit, too, letting everybody know, hey, we're still here, and we'd appreciate your business.
City staff tell us TxDOT will close the underpass again in a couple months. Closure of an exit ramp off Highway 82 in Sherman was supposed to begin on Tuesday, but today TxDOT announced closure of that westbound exit ramp at Highway 75 has been postponed. That closure necessary to complete construction of frontage roads. Travelers will be advised of the new closing date. Sherman police say they're trying to track down the thief who stole packages along South Heritage Parkway. The crime Tuesday afternoon. The theft captured on security camera. Now, if you can put a name with the face, you are urged to call Officer Bigham with the Sherman Police Department. Mandy, some homes in my Sherman neighborhood waiting for roofing companies to begin repairs. I'm wondering if that line will be any longer come Friday morning. You're in our signature home furniture weather center.
It certainly could if we get another hail core going over Sherman. We really hope that some of that large hail can stay out in different fields or somewhere where they won't cause a lot of damage. But we'll see how things pan on out by tomorrow afternoon. In the morning, light showers, 50s, cloudy skies. The afternoon could spell trouble for some folks as severe thunderstorms are going to be possible from about 1 to 10 p.m. Temperatures in the 70s. We'll have a dry line taking shape with isolated supercells initially, and then that cold front making those storms go more linear later on in the day. Level 3 risk for these thunderstorms along the Red River. I'll have more on that coming up. Bob.
All righty. Several people hurt, one seriously after a large portion of a tree fell on them at the San Antonio Zoo today. Authorities say it happened toward the back of the zoo where part of a tree fell on a guest pathway. That pathway full of visitors. First responders arrived at the scene within minutes to treat the injured. Durant City Council votes to adopt Bryan County's hazard mitigation plan. That plan, updated every 5 years, lays out the best protection against damage from natural disasters. With a plan in place, the city can apply for federal funding from the Federal Emergency Management Agency.
We bought all the homes in the floodplain area along the Mineral Bayou several years ago and turned that into parkland because it was a repetitive flood area.
Epler tells us Durant's new Doppler radar also will better alert the county to the threat of tornadoes. Tuesday night, Durant City Council approved an exchange of old equipment from the fire department. Firefighters plan to trade a trailer and compressor to Calera and Culbert firefighters in exchange for mutual aid.
It's understood that if our compressor, our new compressor that we purchased last year goes down, well, then we'll be able to utilize culverts on the trailer for whatever Clear is using. If we need that resource in Durant, well, they'll come with that trailer.
Roldoff tells us Culver, Clare, and Durant all on the same team. Durant City Council election begins next month. If homeowners plan to display a candidate's sign, the sign must be placed a minimum of 5 feet from the curb and picked up within 7 days of the election. Durant's Chamber will host a Meet the Candidates event March 28th. Election Day is April 4th. Amid anxiety in the banking sector, new data adds to the murky picture of the U.S. economy. Inflation slowed, but so did consumer spending, giving the Federal Reserve a lot to think about as it considers its next move on interest rates. Here's Karen Kafa.
Another key inflation gauge is down, but so is consumer spending, according to government data released Wednesday. And turmoil in the banking sector could complicate the Federal Reserve's course ahead.
The question is, what is the stability of the U.S. economy and the financial system? And that's still a question mark.
On the heels of Tuesday's report that consumer prices pulled back, the Labor Department said wholesale prices slowed last month, too, to 4.6% year over year from 6% in January. That means producers sold their goods for less, so consumers could soon see lower prices at the stores. Drop a 36.1% plunge in the wholesale cost of eggs. Wholesale prices of fruits and vegetables also fell. But after a hot start to 2023, consumer spending cooled in February. The Commerce Department said retail sales dropped 0.4%, with Americans pulling back on dining out, auto sales, and furnishings. Slowing consumer spending to cool inflation is the strategy for the Federal Reserve's recent interest rate hikes. But Wednesday saw pressure on the global banking sector after U.S. anxiety seemed to calm Tuesday after the Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank collapses.
It indicates to me that the systemic question, the systemic worry is still alive, and we will just have to see how this plays out over the coming days.
That may prompt the Fed to change its approach when it announces its next decision on interest rates next Wednesday. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin and the Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman commented on that U.S. drone down by a Russian fighter over the Black Sea.
I'll just reiterate that the United States will fly and operate wherever international law allows. Now, we take any potential for escalation very seriously, and that's why I believe it's important to keep the lines of communication open.
General Mark Milley confirmed the U.S. is working through recovery operations and said the drone was cleared of sensitive intelligence. In June of last year, Gus Hankey took over as chief of the Healdton Police Department. Since then, the department's logged more than 40 felony cases filed in district court. 17 were drug-related. 4 were soliciting sexual conduct with a minor by technology.
When we do receive something of that nature, that it appears that there's a person who's actively soliciting what they believe to be a minor or a minor themselves for the purposes of any kind of sexual conduct or communication, we take that extremely serious and we go after those people.
When Hankey became chief, officers' pay to $19.50 an hour. Oklahoma's Senate said yes to increasing poll workers' pay. Senate Bill 290 doubles pay for election judges and clerks and takes election inspectors' pay from $110 to $225. The bill's aim is to retain and recruit more election workers. It now goes to the Oklahoma House for consideration. Still ahead at 10, NASA with a new look. We'll hear when astronauts will debut those new spacesuits. And once a lost baby abandoned in the cold decades ago reunites with her rescuers. That story later this half hour.
And severe thunderstorms possible Thursday afternoon and evening. We'll break it down for you coming up next.
You'll never need to wonder what the skies hold when you have the KTEN weather app. From daily forecasts to severe weather alerts and updates, you'll stay connected to Texoma's most trusted meteorologists. Download it for free to your favorite device and stay connected 24/7. Live radar, social media updates, and so much more on the KTEN weather app. It's a way to stay connected to the most advanced, dependable weather source in your area. Never guess again. Follow us with the KTEN weather app.
A little more than 12 hours away from teams getting to that man-to-man defense, the Big 12 Conference, a major part of March Madness. Connor has more later this half hour. You're watching KTEN News at 10.
GMT Weekdays with Bailey Vaughn, Tiger Allen, and Amber Nowoski gives you the latest in weather forecast and happenings from overnight. That's Good Morning Texoma, weekdays from 5 till 7. This portion of the news is brought to you by Fenton Ford of Ada.
Registrations open now for the Choctaw Nation's second annual Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women's 5K. The event raises awareness of violence against Native American women who face a murder rate 10 times higher than the national average. The run in Antlers, Oklahoma, May 13th. Organizers recommend registering in advance. Oklahoma's Tourism and Recreation Department one step closer to reopening restaurants in state parks. The department got plenty of responses for restaurant services at 6 state parks. Evaluation of the responses is underway. A team of evaluators looking at each proposal to ensure the selected vendor meets the needs of the department and visitors. The Tourism Department's executive director tells us this puts the agency one step closer to improving visitors' experiences in Oklahoma state parks. NASA and Texas-based company Axiom Space unveiled their new spacesuit design. This is a prototype. The ones astronauts will be wearing in space will be white. NASA scientists say the color helps protect against extreme high temperatures. These new suits come with specialized tools like an HD video camera and a light band on the visor of the helmet. Astronauts will start using them during training late this summer. Mandy, guess Texoma should batten down the hatches for Thursday. Another severe weather threat headed our direction, huh?
Yep, we're going to do it again another Thursday. Some more thunderstorms tonight. Our Sherman Chevrolet Cadillac tower cam has been shaking quite a bit. Those south winds remain strong even tonight, gusting well over 20. Still sitting at 61 degrees. We're going to be pretty warm all the way through Thursday morning. Out the door starting off upper 50s, low 60s and windy. Here's your Thursday forecast. 30% chance for rain there in the morning. That changes over to a 60 to 100% chance for some rain and thunderstorms during the afternoon and evening. Temperature is going to be in the 70s on the way through about 5 o'clock. And then those severe thunderstorms could have a large hail, a damaging wind and a tornado threat. Here's your cheat sheet for tomorrow, 1 to 10 p.m. the timing. And here's your threat, 60 to 80 mile per hour winds, at least golf ball size hail. We could see some hail higher than that, but that's going to be earlier in the afternoon with any of those isolated supercells. Once the cold front moves on in and storms go linear, that's going to cut down on some of the large hail threat. We're also going to watch the tornado threat tomorrow. That could increase with the morning data, and then localized heavy rainfall also in the cards. As far as timing, showers early out the door. You might run into some rain for that morning commute, but it's likely going to be a light mist, a light rain moving in from the south and pushing off to the north. But then the dry line taking shape there for the afternoon. It's going to be along the I-35 corridor when we see that initially kind of take place, and then isolated cells going to be popping off along this dry line. Those cells, those are the ones we're concerned about the highest hail and tornado threat. Once this cold front moves on through, these storms quickly go linear. This will turn into more of a damaging wind concern and possibly a brief spin up tornado threat. Storms out of here by about 10 o'clock. We have some scattered showers through Friday morning. Can't rule out a few snowflakes and higher elevations there in eastern Oklahoma where it gets a little bit more hilly. And then heading into the weekend, things really start to dry on out. That severe weather outlook, level 3 out of 5. Wind, hail, tornado, and you can see pretty much all of us going to be in the orange there. Rainfall totals out of this, ½ an inch to about an inch. Some could see higher amounts, but the weekend, quite the different story. 50s on Saturday, 40s for Sunday, and freezes both mornings, so bring that sensitive vegetation inside if you can. If not, cover plants outside as you are able. Morning lows going to be in the 50s, the 60s. Afternoon high temperatures, nice and warm. Warmest in the I-35 corridor as that dry line moves on through. Storms continue pushing east. Here's a 7-day sponsored by Utter Family Dealerships. 50s Saturday, 40s Sunday and Monday, and then back in the 70s finally by the middle of next week. Bob.
All righty, she was an abandoned baby out in the freezing cold, rescued by some good Samaritans. Now she reunites with them 4 decades later. That story's coming up. And America says they've got a new favorite dog. We'll find out what breed. I bet it's that one right there. You're watching KTEN News at 10.
Join the growing group of of KTEN viewers, helping us to bring you the latest news from your hometown. If you see news, let us know. Send your tip to newsteam@KTEN.com or call the KTEN News hotline at 903-548-4010.
I'm Bailey Vaughn for Good Morning Texoma.
And I'm Hunter Donahoe.
We hope you'll wake up with us this Thursday morning from 5 to 7 a.m. Teachers say vaping is one of the biggest problems inside high schools. Now some Virginia schools are installing vape-detecting devices. We'll explain how they work, plus we'll have a look at your forecast.
And another round of severe weather could be impacting Texoma for tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. At least we'll see cooler conditions as we head in towards the weekend. Amber will have your forecast coming up from 5 to 7 a.m.
It is a morning that's haunted Bob Hopkins and Bob Wisnett 40 years. The day they found a baby abandoned in the snow. Until recently, they've been left to wonder what became of that child and why they were in the right place at the right time. Here's Allie Spilliards.
Actually, the original story was in the Kansas City Star, and this is the original one from 1982.
Behind an article yellowed with age is a story that Bob Hopkins and his partner Bob Wisnett have recounted time and time again.
We woke up one morning. I just bought a new Jeep and a new snowplow, and it was 33 inches of snow on the ground or something like that, and it was 10 below zero.
He said, "We're gonna go shovel a driveway."
And I was paying attention to the snow, and Bob was looking around trying to figure things out, and he said, "Bob, there's something moving over there on the back porch."
And so we got out of the car and went over to the porch, and there in a box is this wrapped bundle with a note pinned to it, and we unfolded the blanket, and this beautiful child is smiling up at us.
The old newspaper clip goes on to describe how there was nothing identifying the 8-month-old girl bundled in a green snowsuit, who was eventually handed over to CPS, leaving the Bobs with more questions than answers.
What happened to this little girl? Who took her in? Is she alive? Is she not? Is she a president? Is she a janitor?
Until 4 decades later, that now grown-up baby came across an old Facebook post Hopkins made looking for her.
It never crossed my mind to find them.
And Tyra Pearl reached out for a reunion that was long overdue.
Tears. Lots of tears. I mean, this man saved my life. Like, had he not paid attention to this box that was on the steps, or had he just said, "Oh, well, gone by my business," I would have died. So it meant a lot. I swear it sounds corny, but that's my hero.
Together in Dallas, where the Bobs now live, Pearl spoke of a happy childhood, a successful career, and the 2 children she's raised. Though she never got the chance to meet her birth mother, Pearl says there's no ill will.
She did what she did. She felt it was best. In our reality, I've lived a better life probably, with what she did.
And in part because of Hopkins and Wisnett.
Perhaps the greatest events in our lives are those that we see as totally insignificant.
Now more than just a sidebar to her story.
I said to her when we left, "Is this the end of our story?" And we both looked at each other and said, "I hope not."
Bob Hopkins is a college professor, says he shared the story with his students for years. Still ahead on KTEN News, a scientist with an interesting discovery will run the tail of the tape on a recent dinosaur's neck. That's what KTEN News at 10 rolls on. Oh, there's a new top dog breed in this country after more than 30 years. According to the American Kennel Club's registration stats, that one right there, the French Bulldog, now sits in the #1 spot. It's the first time in 31 years the Labrador Retriever has been unseated as most popular breed in the country. You could call them long necks in the land before time. Paleontologists think they've identified the longest neck member of Littlefoot's family. This plant-eating shorebird has a neck that could extend 10 feet past a school bus, and scientific name that's just as long. In fact, it's almost 50-foot neck, could be a record holder. Paleontologists believe this dinosaur lived in what is now China some 162 million years ago. A pair of Texas high school boys and girls teams took the diamond this afternoon, looking to sweep their opponents. Find out if they did when we come back.
High School had a pair of teams on the diamond this afternoon, and they were looking for a boys and girls sweep. The baseball team took on Tom Bean, and the softball team faced Nakona. We'll start with the boys, and the wind was howling into the batter's box, and Logan Jenkins took advantage on the bump. He sends Alex Sanchez back to the dugout. The ball was flying off his hand with a little help from Mother Nature, and Tom Bean just couldn't get anything going. Later, he tells Braylon Barrett to sit down. Pirates were phenomenal on defense and had some firepower on offense as well. Garrett Trevino hits one to the third baseman. He makes the play at first, but Trevino scores Reed Patterson in the process, and Collinsville were dominant on both sides of the ball. They win 10-0. Over to the girls now, and the wind was downwind for the batters on the softball field. Devin Elvington blasts one all the way to the fence on the fly. Looked like it might leave the park for a second. She brings in several Lady Pirates. Then Audrey Miller hits a full swing bunt. Looks like Nakona is going to make the play, but they forgot about Ashley Ortowski coming home. Lady Indians overthrow it, and Ortowski scores. Later, it's Addison McDonald. Gets a hold of one into the gap up the middle, and it's more of the same for Collinsville. They win 19-4 after 4 innings. Grayson College baseball hosting Temple in a doubleheader. After winning 11-2 in Game 1, we pick up action in Game 2. Trey Ackerman blasts one into the left field. The wind keeps this one in play, and Grayson continue their stellar hitting. After that, Mason Peters catches Ackerman leading too far. Looked like they're going to get a pickoff, but the umpire calls him safe. Unbelievable. Temple manager beside himself gets in his face and gets tossed. Then make sure to get his money's worth. Later, it's Tyler Broderick. He goes oppo field, and the Vikings sweep Temple. They win Game 2, 10-4. Huge news in the NFL. According to Adam Schefter, Dallas Cowboys and running back Ezekiel Elliott are officially parting ways. Elliott will become a free agent, and in 7 years with Dallas, Elliott had 10,498 all-purpose yards and led the league in rushing twice in 2016 and 2018. He ranks third in franchise history in rushing yards and rushing touchdowns behind Hall of Famers Emmitt Smith and Tony Dorsett. The Cowboys are designating Elliott as a post-June 1st cut, which will save them $10.9 million in cap space. More NFL news. Former Oklahoma standout and Heisman winner Baker Mayfield is signing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Mayfield and the Bucs reached an agreement on a 1-year contract worth up to $8.5 million. Tampa Bay needed a veteran quarterback with the ability to battle Kyle Trask for the starting job. Trask has never started an NFL game, and Mayfield has started 69 of them. Mayfield was previously claimed off the waivers in December by the Los Angeles Rams after the Carolina Panthers let him go at the end of 2022. Big 12 basketball earned some bragging rights with the NCAA tournament starting tonight. 7 teams from the Big 12 are playing in the Big Dance. At 70%, it's the highest percentage of any Division I conference in the country. The number 1 seed Kansas faces Howard, 2-seeded Texas faces Colgate, and West Virginia plays Maryland. All of those games are tomorrow. Then Baylor plays UC Santa Barbara, Iowa State plays Pittsburgh, Kansas State plays Montana State, and TCU plays the winner of ASU Nevada, which is going to be ASU Forks Up. Those games are Friday. And the Dallas Mavericks just finished up in San Antonio and defeated the Spurs 121-119. Christian Wood was back in the lineup and finished with 23 points and 12 rebounds. The Mavs had 5 players in double figures, and this was an absolute must-win game for Dallas as they were slipping in the Western Conference standings. The Mavericks are currently tied with the Thunder in the 8th seed. That's all we have in sports.
And here's a look at the next 7 days, sponsored by Utter Family Dealerships. Temperatures in the 70s for Thursday, 100% chance for some showers and thunderstorms. Severe weather also likely for the afternoon and evening. Then into Friday, much cooler. We're going to be in the 50s all weekend long with some upper 40s possible for Sunday into Monday. Clouds next week and back to the 70s by Wednesday. Bob.
That's it for us, everybody. Good night. Sleep tight.